Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Fab Fatties for this, our final episode of the year. I'm Allie.
I'm Rebecca.
Alyssa. And we are so excited because today we're going to do a little bit of reflecting, a little bit of recapping, a little bit of checking out our favorite clips from the year. We're going to see how far we've come and see how far we have to go. And yeah, let's get into it. I'm going to be starting us off with clip number 1 from our very first episode of the year, New Year, Same Rear.
If I could ask each of you to come up with not a New Year's resolution, but just one intention for this year that has absolutely nothing to do with your body. One intention, if you could just top of your head, what would it be?
But this year I need to take back a little bit of control over what stresses me, and a lot of that is financial stress. I've been trying to work on getting another job. It hasn't happened. And I really need to commit to it for my peace of mind, but it's hard because so much of it's out of my control, right? Inflation's out of my control. Apartment prices are out of my control. Being a single person is out of my control because I guess I could date someone, but I'm not going to date someone just for that sake, right? Mm-hmm. And so the extent to which I can work on that goal, questionable. But I would like it to be a less stressful thing for me in the future.
You know what? Okay, so just a little behind the scenes is that I took all these clips and put them together for us. So I had a little bit of a preview, and they worked on theirs together, so they know what clips, we're working with. And I forgot I said this. And I am not necessarily coming to you having made so much progress that I don't have debts and I don't have money issues, etc. But I can say I am very, very actively working on my financial situation. I have not gotten a new job, so I'm still with the same work. It's been a very hard year for people to get jobs, and that's not changing for me, right? But I am aggressively paying off my debts. I am dealing with any kind of consequence that might come up from having avoided the situation. Sure. And I'm hitting it face forward, and I'm happy about that. I've started door dashing, and door dashing didn't start till end of October, but I feel really good about the extra agency I'm feeling from having another stream of income that is, simply put, guaranteed. Whenever there's online stuff, which I used to do for extra money, it's never guaranteed money. Companies can decide on a dime whether or not they're going to pay you, and some of them take forever to pay you. Yep. So I really feel glad for that, Rebecca, that the year has made progress. There is a clearer vision of it being something I no longer deal with in 2 years, and I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that, and that feels really good.
Hell yeah. Snaps for January, Rebecca.
Yeah.
And I have.
And for December, Rebecca.
Yeah, okay, and listen, I do still spend some money on little treats and little croissants and things like that.
We know.
But I have majorly cut back on fashion spending, which was a big thing for me. So even if, I still could pull back even more, I have pulled back, and so go me.
Go you. All right.
Alyssa.
I have spent so much time not living my life because of my body, and I know we said not body oriented.
It's okay. I can see where it's going, so it's okay.
Thank you. I've spent so much time just saying I can do that when. Yeah, I can do that when. I'm just at a point in my life where I'm just itching to live. Yeah. I just want to say yes, and I just want to do things. So I think right now, my resolution is to just be, to just live. If something sounds exciting, I want to do it.
Yes. Yeah. Say yes to things. Yeah.
Your intention is to say yes.
Yeah.
Say yes to the things you want to say yes to.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love that.
We did take Alyssa to go shopping for clothes the first time of the day.
So
and it was her first time going shopping with other fat women.
Yeah.
And it was super fun.
I came home and I cried. Oh my goodness.
Alyssa cries a lot. We love that for her.
Listen, I'm at a really emotional point in my life because things are really changing. I swear I'm never usually this sappy. I hate crying.
I love it.
I love
Be
it.
in touch with those emotions.
It's
Absolutely.
so disgusting.
Absolutely.
I'm saying yes.
Hell yeah.
I am. I'm saying yes as much as I can. I think it's really hard right now because, like, gosh, the seasonal depression is so real. So, like, I'm not saying yes in November and December. I'm saying no, I'm sleeping.
You're saying yes to rest.
Yeah. But I definitely have done more this year than I have in a really, really long time. I'm just thinking that we went to like concerts this year and I don't know, I saw more shows than I've been seeing and I just feel like I've actually been like out and about and
You've
traveled.
Oh,
You're
yeah.
so right. I traveled
Yeah.
a lot this year, which I have not done in years.
Yeah.
Even just like a little weekend getaway here and there. But yeah, definitely living. Definitely living.
I love that.
And you know what? When you get out and you're starting living, sometimes you need some rest along the way.
Yeah.
So that is okay.
Yeah.
My intention for this year is to get a fucking job. That would be a large one for me. I quit my 10-year career at the end of 2022 when life kind of threw me a pretty big curveball. And I have spent the last year kind of a little bit drowning, but also learning that I used to think that reaching out for help meant that I was drowning and I was going to make other people drown with me, and absolutely that I failed. But now I realize that I have people that are not going to drown with me. They're throwing out the life vests. Mm-hmm. They're like, we got you. We're going to help you keep your head above water. So I think it's definitely to stop rotting all the time. There's definitely time for rotting, for intentional rotting, but stop rotting all the time. And definitely get myself into a better situation so that I can be in a more, what am I trying to say? In a better environment for myself than where I am now. And not, I'm trying to get rid of the toxicity out of my life. But yeah, that's my intention for this year.
Well, hey, 2 for 2, man. So I've got my little freelancing job going on, and cross your fingers for me, everybody. I am currently in the interview process for a job that I would really, really love. Thank you so much. And yeah, did it happen the way I thought it would as far as detoxifying my life and learning how to lean on my friends and not thinking I'm going to drown them with me? It did not happen the way I thought it would, but did it happen? It did.
It sure did.
It did, and I detoxified the fuck out of my life. Bye, Mom. So yeah, I want you to leave that in there for sure.
You know what? We are here for Empowered Ally, who is only going to have those who are willing to help support and not destruct, not be an act of destruction. So.
And honestly, I realize that I've been a confident person for a while, but I'm more confident in who I am now than that Ally who really just thought, at least I'm hot. Because that Ally, man, she likes to hear herself talk. But I don't feel like I have to have all the right words anymore. Mm-hmm. And I just am really enjoying being my favorite version of myself.
Oh, it's the first clip and I already see you crying.
Stop.
I saw it. I'm not crying.
She still points at someone and says stop whenever they start making her cry.
Let's move on.
Hey everyone, did you know that the Fab Fatties are on Patreon? Yes, we are. And you can follow us for more behind the scenes chaos. We have bloopers. We have Allie raging. We have, me climbing out windows. I don't know. We just have a bunch of crazy stuff over there. Yeah, so you can find us on Patreon. That's
PATREON.com/the Fab Fatties.
PATE.
No.
PATREON. That's what I said.
.com/the Fab Fatties.
And we will see you over there.
All right, our next one is from episode 3. Is it in style or is it just in our size? And fashion is one of those early things that I felt like we could come together to talk through. It is we all got to be clothed, right? We all got to be clothed. It's a really easy connector, and we've taken it on a couple different ways throughout the year. But let's see how we did it at the very beginning.
But it is interesting. So I do think it pulls into this like scarcity mindset of like there's scarce resources. So then we start hoarding. We start buying things we don't need. And again, I think we're all at different places in terms of our love of fashion, how much we do XYZ. I've started blogging when I was 22. So this is, a 13-year experience. I don't know that scarcity mindset has slowed down for me. Mm-hmm. There is still a big feeling of needing things and feeling like there's constantly better things that will be better fits for me, more stylish. I mean, I definitely feel like my style has changed over the past couple of years as I'm getting more. And that's part of it is like, what is my style? Do I get to keep doing it? And I see a lot of women feel like they have to do like one aesthetic because then at least it's easy to lean into, right? It's easier to shop for. But it has created kind of, again, this little like shopaholic situation. But it's more than that because it's not just like the joy of shopping or inability to shop. It is for me like there doesn't seem to be an enough point, and there also is a real feeling of if I don't get it now,
it's gonna be gone.
It'll be gone. I won't have it.
It really is like it's oh my God, I've never seen something like this in my size before. And it almost is this like there was a time where they did not like what was available for sizes smaller than us was 100% not being made in our sizes. Right. And so it's almost like this, if I don't get it now, am I at risk of it not being there later? Or are we going to go back to a time where this fashion is for these people and this fashion is for these people?
Am I okay?
You were listening, you were checking to make sure the camera was still going.
You were listening and not judging. I mean, can we just shout out though to our quality now?
Oh, it's been a journey.
And obviously, I mean, it's been up and down this year for sure. We're still figuring out our shit over here, but I would say it's leaps and bounds from the couch.
We have improved from the days of having two shared mics tucked to my knee because Alyssa's so much louder that it had to be on my leg, not hers.
Wait, so true. But before we get into the fashion, Allie, where's that sweater? And can I have it? Because I really love that sweater you're wearing.
I'm pretty sure that's Rebecca's sweater.
And what's funny is I went to go wear it the other day and I was like, I don't like the sweater anymore. So girl, I will bring it to you.
And the funny thing is the sweater that you're wearing, I gave to you.
You did give to me. And by the way, I wore it for the whole season and now my mom has it.
I love that.
My mom's now wearing it.
The sisterhood of the traveling sweater.
Shirt, literally.
The shirt I'm wearing was from you. You got it from a brand. You got.
Oh my God.
That's so funny. Wait, and that's so, like, forget about everything else in that clip. That speaks true to what we do for everything. The episode that we're gonna film, Allie's wearing a piece of, our next episode, Allie's wearing one of my shirts over her dress. Yeah. I wore Rebecca's dress to Echo's wedding recently. We really are.
Yeah.
Sharing closets.
And I actually think I'm wearing your pants in this clip too. That I definitely stole from her.
You know, it's okay. I don't remember, so it's fine.
I was like, you're not getting these bags. She was like, I want the bag. And I was like, okay.
Okay.
Well, it is funny listening to that clip because I do feel like fashion in this past year has been a source of like fun. Like we went to Arula, all three of us, and tried things on and made little clips. I do feel less like I have to have it all.
Yeah.
I feel less of that frantic energy, more of like, honestly, there's not that much I'm like getting very excited by. And so I can kind of calm myself down. And what's funny is I dressed up a lot. And being around Alyssa, who's much more of a casual street style dresser, I am starting to find like I love a good pair of well-fitting jeans with a crew neck sweater. Like there is something I'm liking.
Trendsetter?
Girl, have you not seen us change from literally being like girlies in dresses all the time to did I not buy a pair of cargo pants?
You guys are just trying to be me.
Obviously.
Listen, I love a good dress. This is a recent find, and
that's a beautiful dress.
I do enjoy it, but
It's got a slit.
because I don't have like just extra money to be spending on clothes. Like this one I looked at online for months. Yeah. And then I waited until Black Friday and then I Google image search to find the place that sold it at the cheapest price, and like I'm willing to
Genius.
wait. I'm willing to wait. I'm willing to get a good deal. I'm willing to let clothes go more than I used to.
Yeah.
And so yeah, I don't feel that.
Well, I think, and I'm not trying to like diagnose you, but I think you're also having a little bit more fun having a more sense of control over your finances.
Yes.
So it's more fun for you to, treat yourself to a little something and put away, the money that honestly you're working very hard for.
Yeah.
Right? And put it away to tackle some debt, to tackle some things, and know that you can go out and get yourself, a little mystery toy or a latte, or a pastry, something like that.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, it's been fun to watch.
Listen, have the fashion companies gotten any better? I don't know. I don't know.
We do know.
It's still the same stuff. It's still the same prices. It's still... So I think there's also just a little, there's not that much to be too excited about right now.
That's fair.
This episode is iconic. Episode number 5, selling out Ozempic.
We're so proud of you guys.
It took
Well
me
done.
A year. It took me a full year. But please enjoy. We're so happy you are here today. We are a little worried about this topic. We do have a lot of feelings. So I think we want to put a warning up front to all of our friends that no one at this table feels negative towards people who have chosen to use Ozempic for weight loss.
Ozempic.
We're a little Midwestern. We have potato casserole in the oven.
Ozempic.
No, that's how you say it.
Say it again.
Ozempic.
Ozempic.
It's an E, not an A.
I'm saying the same thing as you.
No, you're not.
We like the way you say it. Don't worry.
No, you clearly don't.
We think it's so cute.
Ozempic. Okay, so the Ozempic craze. Go on.
That particular drug craze.
This is a serious conversation.
Very serious.
I do love the lengths you went to avoid saying that word any further.
That particular drug.
I truly do think it was an accent thing and not a misunderstanding of how to say it.
Oh,
I have
for sure.
trained myself now to say Ozempic.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, but I think what is funny is I remember wanting to do this episode and Rebecca being the one really concerned, being like, well, we don't want people who are taking it to feel isolated from us. We're like, no, that's not the point. Like, the point is to talk about it and have a space for the honest conversation. So I remember being like, don't worry, Rebecca.
I got this. This is a very serious conversation.
I felt really proud of myself for that intro because I was like, I made sure Rebecca was feeling good about it.
Yes.
But honestly, I think that it brought like a light moment to a very heavy topic. Pun not intended, but where we were all a little nervous going into that, and then we got to laugh.
Well, not to cut you off, Allie, but there is a very important moment from this episode that we do need to see and let you respond to. I became aware of what I'm about to share. I'm pretty sure, someone can fact check me, but I'm pretty sure it was close to...
Oh, man.
Yeah, no, what I am saying is not important because there's some stuff happening over there.
That's fair. You're just listening to this episode. You're probably not going to get what's happening here. So let me paint you a picture. Alyssa is continuing to do a very, very good job of telling us about Ozempic. And Rebecca cannot be helped but to make sure that my beloved Harry Potter bracelet no longer makes noises that she does not approve of. So Rebecca can be seen gently tapping me and asking me, without asking me, to remove my bracelet. And rest in peace to that bracelet because I don't wear it on the pod anymore.
Yeah, I will say this has been brought up before, but these girlies got me to go to therapy, and it was from all their little tippy tapping noises. I was getting so anxious from all the little noises, especially while filming, that I realized I was having an overstimulation issue, and I went to a psychiatrist, and now I'm in therapy.
Snaps for therapy.
Yeah.
Love that for you.
The next clip is from episode 6, Talk to Me Nice, and it was inspired by a little something that we saw going around about Girl Scout cookies and how to talk to Girl Scouts.
Oh, yeah.
So we are talking about this week a viral post that we saw over the last couple of weeks, now that it is one of honestly, our favorite seasons, because we do support the troops, and that is the Girl Scouts.
The Girl Scout honor.
Yeah, 100%. So we've seen a little post that's been going around. That's what we wanted to talk to you guys about today. And I'm going to read it for you, and then we're going to discuss things like we do. When you're approached by a Girl Scout selling cookies, please do not mention your diet, talk about calories, point out your body flaws, narrate out loud why you're not buying them if it has to do with your weight, narrate out loud why you're not buying them if you can't have them in the house because you'll eat the whole box, or ask which cookies are the healthiest. A simple no thank you goes a long way for our girls.
I mean, I think it's a fantastic post.
Same.
And I think it's way overdue. The fact that we haven't seen anything like that yet, I don't know. I think it...
Like, what year is it?
No, I know. I just think it's really impactful, and I think it's... For people who are not aware, I think it's a good way to be like, hey, check yourself.
Check yourself. Check yourself.
I honestly agree with those girls.
Yeah.
I feel the exact same way today that I did then.
I think one of the things that I appreciate about Alyssa's perspective is oftentimes me and Allie come from a perspective of people who have been very entrenched in plus size community online and the way that plus size people talk. And oftentimes whenever we are talking to our imagined audience, we are talking to people that we perceive would be part of that plus size community, people who are following plus size influencers, etc. And you often are thinking of people who have never been in that community before, and it's the first time they're hearing these ideas. And that might be the very first message they've ever heard that is counter to their point of view.
She's not as jaded as us. No, I think that's why people love your perspective so much, because you really do come at it from such a different angle.
Well, thank you. I think it's my environment too, you know? Mm-hmm. I work at a YMCA. I'm surrounded by a gym and specific elements of diet culture and health culture. And I've absolutely gotten feedback from my coworkers that they have learned through having conversations with me or learned through listening to the podcast. And I love that. Yeah. I do think it's about getting a more inclusive message around wellness out into the world and being more diverse and inclusive.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Even in watching this clip, I see how my sarcasm as I read that is like, it comes across as like, yeah, like, why the fuck would you do this? Mm-hmm. You know? Mm. Whereas your response to it is, yeah, like, if you don't know you shouldn't be doing this, this is why you shouldn't be doing this.
Yeah.
You know, you find a way to level with people where I'm like, use your fucking brains, people. And I could really take it down. I've learned from you.
Well, thank you.
Yes, queen.
That's very kind.
Yes, queen. All right, so this next clip is from episode 7. This might be the best face I have ever made on the podcast, and I hope you agree.
I'm assuming this brings us to lust.
Let's venture into lust, shall we? How many sex toys do you have? Oh, I was okay. Right. You I have sex toys. A large collection, and a boyfriend. So
You know what? I did get a couple for myself, surprisingly, from Target. Target has a decent sex toy.
They do.
I was not aware.
They have a
what?
Yes, they have a brand. They have a brand that sells some, and they're pretty good quality. And they have multiple different types, depending on what kind you want or need. So now you know. Get your favorite sex toy at the neighborhood Target.
I hate my hair in this episode.
I just love how aggressive I was with that. How many sex toys do you have?
I love that we were moving into a more organized episode, a way of making episodes. So Alyssa has her notebook.
Yep.
She has her pen. She's making sure we're moving through it.
And she's like, still was not
okay.
prepared.
This brings us to lust.
And yet she still was not prepared for what came next.
No, I was very, you could tell, I was like, oh, I didn't know you were going to share all this, Allie. Okay, okay.
Listen, we still enjoy, Allie still enjoys scandalizing Alyssa occasionally. But I think Alyssa's now like, oh, here you go again.
Yeah, I'm like, okay, Allie.
She's used to it at this point.
We are now at episode 8. ED Looks Like Me. This was our first episode at Everybody Studios. And yeah, it was a really good first episode at Everybody Studios. All I will say going into it is we recorded for a long time that first one. So yeah.
And it's upsetting because one of the things we talked about is like no one gets untouched by this.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone gets to walk away from this episode saying, I haven't had some negative consequence from eating disorders.
Yeah.
From disordered eating, from diet culture, from how flippantly we fucking talk about it.
Right.
And I'm mad. And I'm sad.
Me too, girl.
Yeah.
Me too.
I remember in this episode, you gave a statistic
Yeah.
about how often someone passes from an eating disorder.
52 minutes.
And Allie, in her weird brain, thought to go, Liz, how long have we been recording? And it was right around 52 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
And I just was gobsmacked. Like, I have never felt a statistic down to my bones like that before.
Yeah.
And the heaviness of it, like the heaviness just really hit me. I think, because diet culture is so pervasive, because everyone's done something that they know is harmful to lose weight, it can be a little bit of hee hee ha ha. Isn't that just part of being alive? And that episode was like, there's nothing ha ha about this shit.
There is nothing haha about this shit. The further I move in recovery, the more important I feel the work is.
Mm-hmm.
And the more important I think the education is. And I'm mad, and I'm sad, and I'm frustrated, all of it.
That was the first episode that Alyssa broke me. It was not the last. That was the first episode that Alyssa broke me, and clearly it still has the same effect. The Me Too girl. I felt that.
Yeah.
I felt that. I felt that for you. I felt that for all of us. I felt your heart breaking.
Yeah.
And the collective heart in the room breaking. And honestly, it was also her getting nearly teared up. I mean, it wasn't until a few days ago that I saw this girl cry for the first time. So seeing her nearly tear up and then cutting to Alyssa going, me too, girl.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's heartbreaking.
I do still very much feel it in my bones.
The next episode was the first of our deep dives on each other. It's episode 9, Stepping into the Spotlight, Lights, Camera, Allie. And I really, this was a brainchild of Alyssa's to have this kind of episode. And then we really just enjoyed the discussions that we're able to have diving into each other's history. I picked a moment between Allie and Alyssa for this one.
You're not just a fat woman out here just going public about other things. You're going out public about being fat.
Yeah.
What compels you to do so?
Because I spent so much time hiding. I spent so much time hiding. Spent so much time being terrified that you can think anything you want of me, but please don't think I'm fat. Please don't call me fat. Please don't look at me and see that I'm fat. Just, you can call me anything in the world. And I was so hell-bent on hiding and not being seen. And because I believed everything that society tells us, right? Everything that fat is bad, thin is good, and my body was a problem to fix. And I wasted so much time. I wasted so much time hating myself that if I can change one person's world where they stop wasting time hating themselves, it's worth it.
You did that for me.
Stop it.
You did though. You were like truly the first person I met in real life, not on the internet, who was just so unapologetically showing up for themselves.
I wanted you to say unapologetically fat.
Yeah.
Say it.
Unapologetically fat.
Thank you.
And I went, you can do that? I went, really?
I love that. I love that. When you said that, that just, I was like, oh my God. And I still remember the very first time that we met. And it was a great night all around, but I didn't realize the impact that it had on you. And then when you told me that during that episode, it was really nice.
Good, I'm glad. I loved my outfit in that episode.
Yeah.
Rebecca gave me that sweater.
I just thought you were so cute. Really?
Really? You can do that?
Yeah.
I loved it.
I think one of my favorite things about that moment, and just, full circle of the whole year, is recognizing how we've impacted each other and naming it. Like, I think a lot of times we are impacted by people and we don't tell them. We don't tell them, like, hey, you really positively affected me with this, or you really bring this. And I think as a group we've gotten better about naming those things, and it does help you feel seen and appreciated and feel more confident bringing those things in the future.
Yes.
Well, these girls had me crying, so let's just get into the next one. We're going to go into episode 10. Are you there, Earthlings? It's me, Rebecca. And this is honestly one of my favorite little clips.
Rebecca, favorite movie?
You've Got Mail. You've Got Mail with Meg Ryan and Tom Hanks.
I like you're explaining
love
it to us.
Listen, have you watched You've Got Mail?
No.
Oh my God.
Set in New York, the fall scenes, and it's so
It's about a little
freaking
bookstore.
wholesome. It's wholesome. And big corporate, but wholesome.
I was not expecting that.
I've loved it since I was a kid.
What a little lover girly.
I
Cute.
know.
Okay.
And Joe Dirt.
And Joe Dirt. Listen, I can't take too much without having to, like, break the moment with something silly. I think, I come across very, like, stiff and whatever, like, maybe, like, a little too dressed up, a little too formal. I am a goofy girl. I'm a
Don't gotta tell
goofy
me.
girl down in there, okay? And I do like having a space on here to be my goofy self.
I loved everything about that clip because honestly, even though I had been friends with you for 2 years before this episode filmed, I had no idea that you were like a little lover girly and that your whole vibe was, autumn in New York and the books and the bookstore and the romance and the enemies to lovers trope and
Freshly sharpened pencils, a bouquet of them.
oh, and I do. But then you also see that Rebecca's values will always shine through because she made sure she goes and big corporate, but but then that little twist at the end with it, and Joe Dirt. I just feel like that encompasses your personality so well.
And at that point, I was like mad at myself again because, like, why did I stay longer than I had? But he told me it was my anxiety. That my anxiety ruined our relationship. So sometimes when people are like, your anxiety is doing X, Y, Z, I get real defensive
That's not your fault.
because I feel like my anxiety protects me. My anxiety
does.
voices
Anxiety.
what feels wrong to
And
me.
you listen to it.
No, but like anxiety's function
Mhm.
is a protector.
Yeah.
Just like fear is. Like the actual function of that emotion,
Mhm.
right? Anxiety, let's just think about it in like the easiest term. You get anxious for a test. The anxiety is there because you want to perform well.
Yeah.
Right? It's serving a purpose.
Mhm.
So yeah, saying that anxiety is protecting you, that's not a wild thought.
Yeah. I think it's why I struggle, like, whenever guys do say a lot of, like, good things about my body or bad things, like, I just feel so bleh, numb. Okay, it serves you, cool. It doesn't serve you, cool. Like, it just doesn't feel good. And so that took me a long time to, like, well, what can feel good with my body if all the way people process and talk and all that doesn't feel good.
Right.
So yeah, that's been an exploration as an adult, is how can I make it feel good if I hate the way people talk about my body.
Function of emotion, baby. Super, super important stuff.
That anxiety train. I think what I look at this clip and think at this moment is none of that stuff is in a different place for me now than it was then. I feel that I have anxiety. I learn to live with my anxiety. I learn in what ways my anxiety affects others. It is still very hard for me to accept when my anxiety affects others. I want people to just go along with me when my anxiety is showing itself. And I don't necessarily think it's too much to ask. But But I do feel like I have to consider how it's manifesting and then how I feel about the way it's manifesting. And what that conversation did for me there is like, I know with you two, I do have a space to talk about my emotions. And it never is ever a conversation of why do you have that emotion? Like, well, you shouldn't have that emotion. I am constantly validated that emotional responses are okay, that processing them is okay, that I can be unhappy with how people react to my emotions, that I'm okay setting boundaries around how people react to my emotions. And that is a difference from that moment. And I do feel like no matter what happens, I will have you two as support, and that it will always be a dialogue.
Allie!
I know. Listen, I'm crying on the inside. My heart is crying on the
I
inside.
think that's what's making me emotional is like hearing you say, you know, I have anxiety, but understanding that, you know, you've learned to both, you know, live within it and learn how it affects you, learn how it affects other people. I feel the same way about BPD, right? I
Yeah.
have BPD. It used to be something that I let control me. I've learned how to, as best I can, control it. And I have two of the best friends in the whole world who never ever ever make me feel like I have to say, but I promise I'm a good person.
Right.
Even when I'm at a level 10, even when it hurts so much I can't breathe, even when I make decisions for you that you can't handle my discomfort right now, so I bottle shit up until it just explodes. I never have to prove to you who I am, and that is just something so fundamentally different from what I experienced my entire life, and that is something that I will forever be grateful for.
Everything else is easier because of that. And it's not to, you know, if I'm having this with loved ones watching, not to discount my relationship with others. We spend an incredible amount of time together, right? And this is a different level of closeness and this is the most emotional understanding in any relationship I've ever experienced. Point blank. That's what it is. It is, you know, I used to be like, I don't have emotions. I don't have emotions. Okay. It is a different emotional understanding of each other than I've ever experienced. And yeah, it's a beautiful thing. And it's become a mentor for what I want with my other relationships.
Yeah.
It's a mentor for what I need in my other relationships.
What you deserve.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I love making Allie cry so much.
This was not on my bingo card for today, so
Oh, goodness.
here she comes.
You know what? I don't even want to watch this next one, but we're going to do episode 11, the Oprah episode, Weight, Shame, and the Weight Loss Game. Also, shout out to Allie who comes up with our amazing fucking titles. Our episode titles are so good, you can't tell me otherwise.
Oh, thank you.
The only reason that we are obese and that we have this disease, quote unquote, is because of food noise, because we're all addicted to food. That was the overarching message.
All right, I'm fucking pissed.
I'm so sorry.
I know I'm fucking pissed.
Let
and
it
let me
out.
tell you why I'm fucking pissed.
Let it out. It is part of our first section here, and then we'll move on.
I am so angry and heightened listening to this because what I have actually learned as someone living in a fat body who went through so much nutrition classes. Forget about the eating disorder. Let's just talk about all the nutrition classes I have sat through as a fat person, right? What you learn is that thinking of food, when you're thinking of food, let's just say, right? Oh, ice cream sounds good. That's actually a hunger cue. That's actually your body telling you, hey, you're hungry. Do you want to know why people in fat bodies experience that so much? Because of all of the restriction we force on ourselves.
Exactly.
You want to know why you never feel satiated? It's because you're actually not letting yourself eat, one, a full meal, or two, what you actually want. If your body is telling you, man, cookies sound so good right now, and you're like, I can't have cookies. I can't have cookies. They're not good for me. They're unhealthy. And you make yourself eat carrots. You want to know what it's not going to take care of?
that cue, your body is sending you cues for a reason, right? It either needs the sugar or needs the fats, and it wants those things for either energy or enjoyment. You're allowed to enjoy food, right? When your mom makes your favorite home cooked meal, you bet your ass I'm sitting at that table and gabagooling everything, right? Like, my mom is an amazing cook. And if I am lucky enough to sit at the table and have her cook, I'm going to feel joy with that, right? It brings a sense of comfort and belonging.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just so angry at this dialogue of fat people are always thinking about food. Yeah, you made us. You've made us so insecure about the food that we're intaking that there's a constant dialogue of this is what I really want, but I can't really have it. And oh, there's people watching, so I have to make sure that I'm eating, fat appropriate way, all quotation marks, So I'm just so angry because these are natural things that are being demonized.
Yeah.
It is a natural thing to think about food.
Yeah.
But for some reason, if skinny people do it, it's not a problem. Fat people do it, they're obsessed with food. They're addicted.
Yeah, because when I think about like my friends who are thin, they're foodies. They're thinking about where we're going to go eat, what kind of cheeses are going to be there, what kind of whatever. Like, they're planning out their stuff based on what food they want to enjoy too.
Because it's normal.
Yes.
I'm sorry. I will calm down now.
No, it's okay.
No.
So I'm like heightened.
This is the rage.
It's the fucking rage. I mean, I still, now I'm sitting here and people got upset about this online, and I'm glad. I'm glad because I think all different points of view are welcome, right? We experienced a lot of people were upset about the cookies and carrot analogy, And I get that people have different lived experiences, and I respect that. But at the end of the day, diet culture tells us that if you want a cookie, it's bad for you. You can't honor that cue. You need to eat something else. And that is a problem. And I still very much look back at this clip and I'm like, that's a bitch in recovery. Because so much of what I said is me echoing things that I learned in nutrition classes and with the dietitian. And I very much was a parrot at that point where I was repeating things that were taught to me, and I'm glad that I came across as passionate as I did.
I think one thing that I love from that clip that I may have actually glazed over the first time or the first several times, even in making that short, is that you did include that. I love this. You did include the fact that your body may just be saying, hey, I would really enjoy some cookies right now. Right? It's perfectly okay to say my body might not need this, but my body just wants to enjoy some cookies right now. And it's perfectly okay. There is no moral compass to eating cookies. And you allowed us to say, yeah, the fact of the matter is that we put so much dialogue around whether we're good or bad for just wanting to enjoy a cookie that, we get obsessive about it.
Yeah.
And I just think that's, go off, queen.
Yeah.
Fucking go off.
I want to even share a piece of it too. Sometimes I have a hard time naming what it is I want to eat. So something I've learned from nutrition classes is what characteristics sound good. Something hot, something cold, sweet, salty, what is it? And sometimes I'll be out loud. I'll work through, I really want something cold, but I don't want ice cream. I want it to be fruity, and Billy's like, we have some grapes in the freezer, or we have some ice cold watermelon, that.
Yeah.
Sometimes the characteristics help. For breakfast, sometimes I'm like, gosh, I need some energy this morning. I'm not a coffee drinker. So I know that that's my body's way of telling me we need chocolate with our breakfast this morning.
Okay.
We need some sugar that's going to get our system going for the day.
I love that.
All I gotta say is you're gonna learn today.
You gonna learn today?
Period.
I got lucky enough to get both of your personal episodes on my list to review and see if I wanted to pull clips from. This brings us to episode 12. It Takes a Village, Alyssa's story. And I really did think about pulling the clip about your village because it was such a different way of thinking than I've ever thought about my brain. But I pulled this one instead.
Okay.
But you did just share with us again that you didn't really have friends growing up. What was that like? Obviously not in what was that like not having friends, right? But like, was that intentional? Was that, just because of you didn't let people in or people didn't, whatever?
Yeah, it was not intentional. I very much didn't know who I was. So I think that's really important. I didn't know who I was. There was a point in time where all I knew was I was a dancer and I defined myself with that. But like, also, I didn't fit in at dance. So like, I wasn't really a dancer.
You want to belong.
I just wanted some place to feel like, oh, I belong here. But I think I started 6th grade like most people, like you had people in elementary school that you were friends with, but like my best friend from elementary school, Mike Petroselli, who I still am best friends with, he was a bridesman at my wedding.
Love that. I love that.
He was going to a different school. So I was starting middle school without my best friend. And I was like, I hate you.
Aww.
So very much middle school, I had some friends who like our parents were friends and like we grew up together. And there were people I was friendly with. There were some girls I was having sleepovers with. Like there were people. I sat with people at lunch, but I very much found myself like not knowing where I belonged.
Yeah.
And I think that really followed me.
Mainly I picked this one because not knowing you as a kid, I would have never guessed that you struggled to make friends.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that you struggled to find belonging. I felt open to your friendship very quickly. Sometimes there's those friends that take a little time. Me and Allie took time before we became close, right? Mm-hmm. And then there's those friends you're like, I don't know, Bob, I think I might open the short line for them. And that was you. And so much of the content you've shared with us is your stories with Rita and Haley. And
yeah,
you're loved.
Oh, Rebecca.
Yeah. You're loved. And I do wonder about how you see yourself now with people around you who love you.
Oh, guys, wow. I was just going to laugh and giggle this episode. Sorry.
It's your turn now.
I am surprised that this is the clip you pulled from this episode. Wow. That's a really great question. I was surrounded by people. I did keep people in my vicinity, right? I wasn't a loner. There wasn't anyone to not talk to. Mm-hmm. But I always felt mislabeled, and I never felt that true sense of belonging. And I know it came up in this episode, and it's definitely come up, but like Haley and Rita are so important and pivotal in my life because they met me where I needed to be met, mm-hmm. and showed me what a friendship should be like with give and take instead of just giving and one side taking. Mm-hmm. And that made me feel loved. And I often will cry when I think about them because I feel so unworthy of that love. Mm. They make fun of me all the time, but I will literally like just see their faces and start crying. Mm. And I truly just have such a deep gratitude for being loved. I don't fully believe that I am a great person, and I don't fully believe that I don't know, that I'm like a great friend, or like I don't think I'm at a place where I'm like that I bring value, you know? And I think part of that is like the negative self-talk, right? Like it was a belief that I learned about myself from the way that other people treated me, but it's not necessarily like my core belief, right? So it's those two things battling together. So I definitely can separate the thoughts of like, that's not my thought. That's something that I've learned. And like, I am a good friend, and like, I do bring value to relationships. I think it's just hard when those thoughts are coexisting. I think sometimes one can be louder than the other, and vice versa. I think the positive can be louder than the negative. I will also say I
I reconnected with someone from high school that I was not friends with. And I feel like that relationship is even healing like a little part of my younger self of like who felt so unseen and unvalued and underappreciated and all of that. But wow, what a question, Rebecca. I don't even know if I've answered it.
I think you've answered it. I think you are still working on understanding yourself as lovable.
Yeah.
And understanding that you don't actually have to do anything to be worthy of love. Because you're just a human being, and human beings are inherently worthy of love. One thing I like to think about when we talk about those, those core beliefs that you spent a lot of time educating me on. But I remember that there was something that really helped me when I started kind of trying to pick apart the toxic beliefs that I knew belonged to other people. And sometimes I literally just visualize putting down a bag that I have been carrying that is so heavy and has put so much weight on my shoulders. And then I realized that all I had to do was put it down because it was never mine to carry. And I hope that you will start to realize that you have a lot of stuff there that it's just not yours to carry.
Yeah. Yeah, I think part of the work that I've been doing up to this point has just been disentangling.
Sure.
Right? I think it's in my brain, it's way more intertwined than just an external bag.
Sure.
Because I feel like in that visual, it's very clear, right? Of like, that's not mine.
Yeah.
Versus internally, I feel the wires are all over the place and I don't know which one to unplug.
I remember you talked, I think it was in our last episode, you talked about having like one of those breakthroughs, right, in therapy.
Yeah.
That was literally the bag thing that was a breakthrough day for me, where I literally was just like, holy shit, I had finally disentangled, right? I had finally untangled this one, I think it was just one belief that I'd been working on, right?
Yeah.
I had finally untangled one of them and I was like, that wasn't mine. That somebody said that about me. Someone made me believe that about myself. And I've been holding that on my back and it has felt like the weight of the world. And finally I have untangled it to the point where I can just set it down. And trust me, we literally just talked about this. There are still times where I feel like I have to prove to people I'm not a bad person just because I have heightened emotions and I'm highly sensitive, right? So of course, there's always going to be things that are easier to put down than others.
I don't remember too much about this episode, but I do remember that it was one of our first ones where we got a lot of feedback and we felt really good about it. Like, we felt really good about the episode, and that's going to be episode number 14, Fat Phobia in the Workplace.
I'm going to spiral.
Let's go.
And I'm going to bring you along with me.
We love that.
So as
Buckle
I'm
it in. Let her off the leash.
She's buckled up. So as I'm sitting at my computer, doing research for this episode, and pulling up statistics, I find something that the CDC released in 2009. I'm scared.
I am too.
I actually want to pull up the exact words for you. The CDC released a, quote, obesity cost calculator.
Oh.
I'm sorry, what?
Oh, I know where this is going.
Wait.
Insurance premiums for companies, money.
To tally the financial losses linked to their overweight employees. So, I'm not even there yet. I'm going to spiral more. So it's called LeanWorks. LeanWorks, and it stands for it stands for Leading Employees to Activity and Nutrition. The website provides various resources to employers, including an obesity cost calculator where employers can input employee demographic data and estimate the total costs associated with obesity and determine annual obesity-related medical costs for their companies. 2, information and resources to help employers plan, build, and assess interventions to combat obesity.
Interventions.
And that's the word they use. That's the word.
Interventions.
That's the word. And number 3, information on how employers can estimate return on investment and measure of the cost of an intervention compared to the expected financial return of the intervention, whatever.
Return on investment.
Yep, exactly.
Return on investment.
So,
this is capitalism.
I'm going to let you rage.
Oh,
I
absolutely.
do want to say it has been dismembered. It's no longer active.
But
Okay.
the harm has been done.
The harm has been done. They dismantled it in 2014. So it lasted a bit.
Mhm.
But I still raged because I'm like, 1, this is not a new issue.
No.
And 2, how are you supposed to combat that? Like, no wonder there's fat phobia in the workplace. Like, the government's literally giving you tools.
You're literally putting like numerical values on human beings.
I think I did all of the talking right there.
So here I was thinking that entire clip was about you spiraling.
No, you're raging.
The fucking rage.
Silent.
And I'm still feeling it, honestly, but the rage happening, I look like I was about to flip that fucking table.
We're so pissed.
I was so pissed.
I went straight into Googling mode. I think my brain is like, once I hear one piece of information,
I need it all.
it sets it on fire, and I'm like, I don't even know what I was Googling, but I was Googling something, damn it.
She's like, she has to binge on knowledge.
Yeah.
She's like, give it all to me right now.
Crazy.
She's got to disassociate from what you're telling her.
Yeah, right?
And go get it. Oh my God. I did not realize how angry I was.
Yeah, we were really angry.
No, I do just think, like, when it comes top down, of course, your colleagues are going to say shitty things. And of course, your director is going to introduce shitty programs because it's coming top down.
Yep.
I think I'll be honest, the reason why I know that clip so well is because that is a clip that throughout the year has continued to get traction on TikTok, sometimes on Instagram, but on TikTok. So I see it pop up a lot, and I click on it a lot to see reactions, and I delete a lot of reactions. But there are so many people who want to invalidate how wrong that is.
Wow.
And fuck them.
Well, and a lot of people want to say, how dare we pay for your medical care? Guess what? As a government employee, like someone who works for the state, my insurance card says paid for by the people of NC. They like to let me know that my health insurance, you know what I mean? Like, the government and businesses love to let you know what they're paying for. And all I have to say is we are paying you back with our time and our efforts and our work and our XYZs.
I would
So
just like to point out that the likelihood of the people who think that we're driving up their insurance premiums are also the ones who thought that they should vote to get rid of Obamacare but really need the Affordable Care Act. Plot twist, they're the same thing. All right, y'all. Let's get to one of my favorite episodes, mostly because of Alyssa, but let's get to one of my favorite episodes. I went a little true crime for the podcast for a week. This is episode 16, The Weight of a Legacy, Gwen Shamlin.
Well, I would like to say something to Gwen.
Go for it, babe.
Fuck you.
Well, you know, sometimes we
I was
don't.
like, just look up there. No, she's not up there. I can tell you. Here, listen,
There's
if
Reba. There she
Reba's
is.
gonna make one appearance in this episode, it is to tell you that Gwen ain't up there, honey. Gwen way down there.
The way down. She went way down.
Way down. Gwen is in a hot place. And I bet you real fucking skinny now.
Listen, Gwen, I'm sorry that you
No, we're not.
couldn't love yourself
Ooh.
the way that we do.
We love ourselves.
The way that we love
you.
ourselves. No. I hope that you loved your hair.
Man, I love this episode. It's funny to me, the switch between how you were so disconnected from it because the fanfare of the cult, I think that you were expecting, you weren't getting, and it was just so much toxic diet culture that was intertwined with faith and a lot of Aquanet, and then you just immediately flipped on this bitch and you were like, no, fuck you, Gwen. And that just, I loved everything about that clip so much.
Listen, I would like to say that this was the first time that Alyssa listened to her therapist, because Miss Therapist herself said, Alyssa, if you're getting heightened when you're recording, you gotta press pause. And you gotta let them know that you are dissociating. And you gotta say, I think I need a little help right now. And boy, oh boy, did that girl need a lot of help right there.
I was so scandalized and mesmerized by you two in that moment that I just had no words.
You literally did clutch
Rebecca
your
was
pearls.
clutching her pearls real hard in that episode.
Oh my gosh.
I can't decide if it's that clip or there was an earlier part of the episode where I started to allude to what had happened to Gwen, and Alyssa just goes, meow. And honestly, chef's kiss, baby girl.
Yeah, that
honestly.
was, me and you were, we couldn't. Allie was like, let me get to my climax. Let me get there. And me and was that a good and me and Rebecca were just like,
Yeah.
That one got the cheeks hurting.
oh,
that
what a
was
fun
fun.
episode,
That
while
was fun.
also being triggered as fuck.
And also, it was very funny that I think that was the first time that we tried doing like a funny like photo cover for our episode, and that was the one where we went and bowed down to the fridge.
We prayed to the fridge.
I loved that one.
Okay, this one we don't have to visit for long, but this is episode 21, Swipe Right for Rebecca. And I think
Oh no.
this was the most fun I've ever had
I don't want to see it.
making Alyssa uncomfortable.
I don't want to see it.
No, absolutely not. No, no,
I forgot.
no. That's worse than sending a dick pic. That's worse than sending a dick pic. Okay, that's worse. In that case, just send the dick pic. Just send the dick pic. Do not send me a picture of your tongue, sir. Number one, that's implying things that I didn't ask for. Number two, nope. Put that back in your mouth. Put it back in your mouth. That's a huge ass tongue. No one asked to see that. Number three, did you brush? No, I can't. Put it back. No one asked for that. That's assault. That is assaulting.
I need you to take it off the screen. Like, I can't look.
Good morning,
I
gorgeous.
was hoping Reba would show up for this one. This guy actually got my number because it was
Was it pre-tongue? Okay.
it was pre-tongue.
He sent the tongue and she was like, oh, hell yeah. Here you go, 704, baby.
No.
He sent the tongue. She's like, I hope you haven't had breakfast. Come on over.
Oh my God! You gotta get the tongue off the screen. So he was normal the first time I talked to him.
So aggressive.
And this was literally the morning. Like, he got my number late at night. I was like, hey, I'm going to bed. Let's chat tomorrow. This is what I woke up to. I wasn't going to respond. And then I did respond. And I said, good morning to you and your tongue.
And good day, sir.
It's the fact that Allie was so eloquently asking questions about this in a funny, smart way, while Alyssa was horrified to her core.
I like seeing the progression of Alyssa's uncomfortableness throughout this.
Listen. It's cringy to me. It's not you.
Yes.
You are, Rebecca, you are not cringing me in this moment. I don't know what Allie just is like, why? And I'm like, just gross.
Get it off.
So gross. Oh my God, so freaking funny.
Oh my
this
God.
guy got my number. Oh my God, so good.
It wasn't until I said it that I realized I did not say pre-tongue. And honestly, this rocked my world, y'all's reactions. I just loved it.
That was a great clip.
This guy got my
Great
number.
clip.
This next episode was one of our, I would say, more poignant episodes. Like, people really listened and engaged and reacted and responded to this topic. So this was episode 24, Categories, the spectrum of size and access.
But Alyssa, I want to know what's going on with you over there.
Yeah, I started to get really anxious as Rebecca was reading through the spectrum.
Yeah.
And I am actively trying to process that in my brain right now. And I'm having some not great thoughts come up. Of like, part of this podcast and the journey I've been on has been like, owning the fatness and being like, this is who I am and this is the space I take up. But I literally felt like the strangling suffocation as we worked our way like through the list. And while I don't look at anyone who is fatter than me in any negative light, I can't sit here and say I'm not thankful that I'm thankful that I'm not there, and also like I feel like I'm there at the same time. So I'm having some very complex thoughts come up that I was not anticipating with this conversation. I obviously know that there is a spectrum and a grid, but I think it was just like as we're reading through it, I'm like, oh, it I don't know. It feels I don't know.
Can I acknowledge that it's incredibly brave to just acknowledge that? Because it is brave to acknowledge that the privilege that you have, right? While also being aware of the privilege that you don't, right? It's so hard. It's so hard doing this work, right? Because sometimes it feels like you're damned if you do and damned if you don't. Because sometimes the calls come from inside the house, right? Sometimes it's scary. It's scary to say, I hate that anyone who's bigger than me has a shittier experience than I do.
Mm-hmm.
And I was bigger. And I can acknowledge that I have different access now. I have more privilege now. It's scary to admit that in our community right now.
I still agree with that. I think that that is an extremely relatable thought process. And I think it's very brave to say. I think it's brave to say in our space as it relates to the online fat community. And I think it's brave to say just as a human being, because it shows that you understand, that you empathize, and you're also a human being. And it's not so much that you're scared of being fat. You're scared of the way that fat people are treated.
Yeah. I mean, you can't deny the reality of lack of access, lack of professional caring treatment, etc. Who wouldn't be fearful?
Yeah.
Who wouldn't be fearful?
That one landed heavy.
I think this was an episode where, people were already falling in love with you and connecting with you. But I do think that this was an episode where people really, really, really felt connected to you and felt, I can relate to this girl because she voices my thoughts. She voices my inner demons, my inner voices that say, I know this isn't necessarily what I maybe am supposed to say, but this is how I feel.
Yeah.
Right? And I really commend you for saying that. Because yeah, at the end of the day, we want everybody on that spectrum to be treated with common human decency.
Yeah.
And you can't ignore the fact that they're not.
Yeah, absolutely. We had some outstanding and amazing guests on our podcast this year that led to some really raw and beautiful conversations and different perspectives. And I know we're excited to keep that going in the new year. This one specifically is with Sebastian Canelli, episode 26.
I've never heard someone else say that. That's such an interesting way to put it, because I completely agree. I think that people will flat out just be rude to my face.
Yeah.
And also, it's normally when I'm alone. And I'm in New York, so I pass a lot of people, so it's strangers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I've had like I remember one day I was waiting at the bus stop and I heard church bells chiming and I was like, oh, this will be nice. I'm gonna go into Manhattan, and someone just threw a bag of McDonald's at my face. Like there's like things like that have happened in my life just from being like a fat man.
I picked this clip because for our audio listeners, I think it is so important to just talk about the gobsmack, the shock, the horror, the terror that flashes on the three of our faces when he says that he was just walking down the street and someone threw a bag of McDonald's at his face. If you are fat or you are not, that is disgusting, despicable, human to human behavior. Period. Done. End of story. And the three of our faces, I think, do a beautiful job of portraying how we truly feel about that.
I mean, the thing about his story is he's talking about how, oh, I'm just going to have a good day. I'm doing this, right? Like, he is an innocent person moving through the world, and then that shit happens because what? Because he's fat.
Because he's fat.
And it's just such bullshit. I mean,
it's just such bullshit.
And I think Alyssa, you used the perfect word, the horror, the sheer horror that flashed across all three of our faces of how could you do this? How could someone do this to this person who we barely know, but to a person, to a human being, how could you do this?
Yep.
And what kind of person gets enjoyment out of doing shit like this? I don't want to know.
can't relate.
Can't relate. All right, so this next clip is a short one, but it's one of my favorites because honestly, it just sums up being a chronically online girly, especially a chronically online fat girly, in the 2024 year of our Lord, Taylor Swift. And yeah, so here we go. Episode 28, Coping with Chaos.
How do you cope with the fact their voices are always in your head?
Not well.
Yeah, not well, bitch.
Not well, bitch. Yeah, I'm fucking struggling.
That's the whole point of this conversation, Rebecca.
That's why we're here, Rebecca.
How dare Alyssa mock me in a dinosaur t-shirt? Okay.
I will say I did come for you. I was like, what kind of question was that, Rebecca?
That's kind of why we're here, Rebecca.
One of the things that cracks me up that I've learned about myself through this and just my relationships this year, I do say some obvious shit sometimes.
Sometimes.
The thing is, too, is that one thing that I really love about being friends with Rebecca is that she knows that I will never pass up the opportunity for a punchline, and yet she always seems to set me up for one. You know what I mean? How do you cope? Not well. Not well.
You know, I just try to do my part.
And honestly,
You did.
still relates.
You did your part.
Still relates.
But Allie, you are working on coping better because
I'm in therapy.
we are 3 for 3, baby!
To be fair, I was never opposed to therapy. I used to be in therapy, but I was opposed to going back to therapy because I was just like, talk therapy is not for me. But I finally have a therapist who's like, we don't have to talk.
You know what's funny is Allie says talk therapy's not for her.
No, I have had so many therapists who just let me come in and just vent. And I'm like, well, I got these two. I'm good. I can vent to my friends. I need someone who's not going to let me come in and vent. I need someone who's going to let me come in and heal. Right? And so I have a therapist now who is laying out a game plan of this is what we're going to work on this week. This is what we're going to work on next week. I bet that your mind tells you this shit. I'm like, Are you in there? Are you? Hello? So yes, 3 for 3. All your Fab Fatties are all in therapy, and we love that for
3
us.
3 for 3 and 3.
Yeah. Alyssa's in therapy for all of us.
You're just jealous.
This next clip is from episode 34, Good Fatty versus Bad Fatty. And honestly, I just picked the clip because Rebecca dropped some really good knowledge on us.
Here's a thing that, and before we get into bad fatties, that I want to say. I once had someone say this to me, and I think this is what a lot of people feel, is they feel like diet culture tells them to eat the salad. And fat acceptance tells them that they eat the salad, they're bending to diet culture and they're whatever. And I want to say, no, it doesn't have to be that. The question that I think fat liberation asks you to consider is, are you eating this because you want to, because you like it, because you find value in it, whether it's nutrition, etc.? Or are you eating it because you feel like if you eat something else, you'll be judged?
Yes, that's exactly it.
Honestly, that's just it was such a mic drop moment for me. I have never heard it explained so succinctly, so perfectly. It's literally that. It is literally that. Nobody is out here saying, don't eat the salad, don't eat the carrots, don't eat whatever, right? Because then you're bending to diet culture. We're literally just saying, you're not going to be judged. We're not judging you for whatever you eat. But just think about why.
Yep.
And that's it. It's literally as simple as that.
Yeah. I thought Rebecca said it really well.
Yeah.
I truly.
I did.
I've tried to say this intro now 3 times. We're going to go to episode number 35. Holiday boundaries. Guilt and shame aren't on the menu. Go, girl. Let's take a look.
We're definitely having cabbage casserole, which I love.
Cabbage casserole?
Yeah, and like it sounds
Please
like
explain.
it's like cabbage cheese with like the Ritz crackers on top. I don't know what they do, but they make cabbage delicious. Okay.
Is there any meat or anything?
No,
No, it's cabbage.
it's just a vegetable casserole.
Just like, a green bean casserole doesn't have meat in it.
Okay. So we had a lot of questions about the cabbage casserole, and I went to my correspondent, my brother-in-law Brandon, and I told him, please tell us what is in your cabbage casserole. So on Thanksgiving, I filmed it as it was coming out of the oven, and he talks us through the cabbage casserole. And I will say, it was the very first thing I ate on my plate, and I ate it all before I moved on to anything else, because I'm one of those weirdos that eats one thing at a time.
Love it.
I want some.
This is the prized cabbage casserole. What's on? Is it? It is Ritz crackers on top. Yeah, I was right about
Ritz
that.
crackers on top.
This is the chef, my brother-in-law Brandon. Cabbage, cheese.
So you start off with a layer of cabbage, and then you put salt and pepper on top of the cabbage, and then I take a whole onion, slice that up. You don't have to have it finely chopped or not. You put it on top of the cabbage, and then I usually put a bag of mozzarella cheese, and then I have to make a little sauce. You do 1 stick of butter, 1 can of cream and mushroom soup, and 1 cup of mayonnaise. Melt your butter, and then combine everything and whisk it all up. Pour that on top, and then put the Ritz crackers on it, and then let it bake on 375 for about 40 minutes or so, just depending on how big your casserole is.
I hate green bean casserole.
Oh,
To be fair, I'm not a green bean casserole either.
To be fair, though, I had literally the best green beans I've ever had in my life last week. Billy made dinner.
Does he make it with like bacon and stuff
why
in
are
it?
you looking at me and asking me that question?
You ate it.
Yeah? Why are you looking at me and asking me that question? Has now been the most quoted moment of mine by these 2 buffoons in all of the episodes.
Honestly, now just any time that I don't want to answer something, why are you looking at me and asking me that question?
It's come back to haunt you.
But what's the good news?
So the good news is people were also eager to understand why Billy's green beans were so special. So we got Billy into the studio when he was home from shift to talk us through how to make it, and it's really funny because he's so nervous.
Billy, it takes a little bit to get confident from a camera, okay?
He's like, what do I say?
Billy, take it away. Billy, the world would like to know how you make your famous green beans.
My green beans.
Yes.
So I take green beans and I steam them to start. And then after I steam them, I take them out of the bag and I put them into a pan with a little bit of oil and a little bit of garlic. And I just saute them for a little bit. And that's where I add a little splash of either like soy sauce or, like salt and pepper. And then I pull them out with the garlic cooked in and the soy sauce and the salt and pepper in the oil. And then I add a splash of white balsamic. And that's how I make my green beans.
We love that for us. They're absolutely delicious. And thank you so much for your time today, sir.
Anytime.
Okay, we also had another clip from this episode where we role-played doing some, holiday clapbacks, if you will. And honestly, Rebecca killed it right out of the gate.
Let's start with just food, because I feel like this is the easiest one. It's come up already. Let's start with reactions across the board for, oh, you're going back for a second plate already. What would you say?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Just yes.
Yeah, I love a short response and a long gaze.
Oh.
I love that. I love a short response and a long gaze. Somebody put that on a motherfucking t-shirt for me. I love a short response and a long gaze.
Yep.
Yes, sir. Okay. Yes, ma'am.
I was so taken aback that because we had talked about preparing clapbacks for this episode and like having things to come to the table with, and I was prepared for more. And
Alyssa's flabber was gasted.
Rebecca's lack of, I think, was actually more impactful. Like, I was like, oh.
That's merch for 2025, everybody.
I have to say, there is nothing that brings me the same little feeling of joy. Like when I say something and y'all have a big reaction to it.
Yeah, it's nice. You're like, nailed it. Yes.
I got one.
I love it. Guys.
Baby girl, your shirt aged you 10 years.
Oh my God. I don't get them often, so when I get them, I'm like,
that one didn't hurt my soul, but it was a good one. It was a good one. Guys, this was so much fun.
Yeah.
It was.
And this is it. This was year 1 of the Fab Fatties podcast.
And there were a lot of memorable moments.
Honestly, yeah.
We did 36 episodes total.
Actually, I think
this is gonna be episode 38, I believe.
Oh shit! Well,
Wait.
color me
38 or 37.
It's gonna be one of those.
We did roughly 40.
With vlogs.
With vlogs. We definitely did 40.
I don't know. We don't know what the future looks like for the podcast, but
we know it looks like us.
For better or worse, this is what you're getting.
Happy holidays to all of our fat friends and all of our fat allies. And we will see you in the new year with a new episode. And hopefully a lot of new stuff coming for the podcast. So we would appreciate it if you help us end the year by liking, subscribing, commenting, engaging, sharing, just like humble girl stuff, being like cutesy and demure and, just like letting people know that you like us.
You really like us.
And we like you.
Because we're fat.
We're fab.
And we are friends. And we'll see you in 2025.
Bye, guys.